politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is 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 douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. This is douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah.
No high UNC official met any PDP official.
You don't need the UNC to pass the bill. This is the worst and they need to go.
Fire burn you, Guardian.
How much more could we tolerate?
You lack the intellect and the competence.
Testing 1-1, testing 1-1. Off? Yeah, it on.
Check. 1-1.
Again, audio. Again, they're probably close enough.
What I had to buy a green one of this
Peter.
and then put everything green. So all of this will just disappear.
I can see if I get the mic for Sunday. I'll tell him once if he get one.
What's that?
One of them cordless.
Oh, he going away?
Remember he live in the States?
Nicholas?
Nah, the small, the younger one. He meet some girl there during COVID and he stayed there.
No, we take up your interview, but my interview on. Yeah, my interview on, so I have people watching you. Said people watching you talk, yeah, you talk with this on. And then switch off your audio. Yeah, try and experiment.
Yeah, but the mic.
Everywhere else is vaccinating except Trinidad and Tobago.
You cannot pay people money that you owe them.
No high UNC official met any PDP official.
You don't need the UNC to pass the bill. This is the worst and they need to go.
Fire burn you, Guardian.
How much more could we tolerate?
You lack the intellect and the competence.
Everywhere else is vaccinating except Trinidad and Tobago.
You cannot pay people money that you owe them.
no high UNC official met any PDP official.
You don't need the UNC to pass the bill. This is the worst and they need to go.
Fire burn you, Guardian.
How much more could we tolerate?
You lack the intellect and the competence.
Everywhere else is vaccinating except Trinidad and Tobago.
You cannot pay people money that you owe them.
Sugar politics, we don't get no kicks. Trinidad and Tobago, till we have this thing up to fix. We coming with facts, got them don't like.
Being the leader of a small Caribbean island with a population of 72,000 people, I did not fancy my chances of getting such a swift, positive response to my request.
India has been sending out vaccine doses in large numbers to other countries under the Vaccine Maitri initiative. This shipment of 2 million doses of vaccine to Brazil marked the start of India's export of vaccine. Just to give you a perspective of the shortages of vaccine globally and how India is stepping in to fulfill the demand, while Canada is still on track to get 6 million doses of Pfizer and Moderna vaccines by the end of March, India, on the other hand, has already supplied around 15.6 million vaccine doses to 17 countries like Bhutan, Maldives, Bangladesh, Nepal, Myanmar, Mauritius, Seychelles, Sri Lanka, the UAE, Brazil, Morocco, Bahrain, Oman, Egypt, Algeria, Kuwait, and South Africa. All of these vaccines were given free of cost by India, and India is planning to gift 500,000 doses of coronavirus vaccines to CARICOM countries, that is the Caribbean community, and another 200,000 doses each to Nicaragua and the Pacific Island states. Apart from the 17 countries who already received India's vaccine, 30 other countries are now reaching out to India for the coronavirus vaccine.
Has the government of Trinidad and Tobago considered approaching any foreign government for a donation of COVID-19 vaccines?
Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Health has been having bilateral discussions with the government of China since October 2020. And once WHO approval is received for that vaccine made in China, we will follow up that, and we are confident that we would be able to access supplies from that quarter.
India is also very well on its way to supply vaccines to China. So far, with China's vaccine Sinopharm and Sinovac, the results have been very patchy with lack of data and transparency. On top of it, the countries who have received Chinese vaccines, like Brazil and Thailand, found the efficacy rates of Chinese vaccines at an abysmal 50%.
The truth is, the world is turning away from Chinese vaccines like all things Chinese. The developed countries of the West are turning isolationist. India is slowly but surely stepping into a leadership role here and displaying compassion, the kind of which has never been seen before. Other developing nations like South Africa, Kenya and Nigeria are looking forward to Indian vaccines, as are many West Asian countries, including Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. Why is the world interested in Indian vaccines? A, they're cost effective, and B, they're safe. The Moderna vaccine, for example, is expected to cost around $30, Sputnik V around $10. Now compare this to Covishield from India, approximately $6.
Trinidad and Tobago has so far invested 66 million TT dollars for the purchase of 462,000 vaccines, enough for 33% of the population.
From the African Medicines Council platform,
We were initially allocated 226,000 doses. That has now been increased to 426,000 doses. We are awaiting price estimates and
you would know this by now. India is known as the world's pharmacy. Vaccine developers from around the world have been tying up with Indian plants since the beginning of the pandemic. These are some of India's renowned vaccine manufacturers. India's pharma sector caters to 50% of the global vaccine demand, 40% of the generic demand in the United States, and 25% of all medicines in the UK. Indian drugs are exported to more than 170 countries globally. India is also home to the world's largest vaccine manufacturer, the Serum Institute of India. It produces 1.5 billion doses of vaccines every year. The UK's GlaxoSmithKline, in comparison, manufactures 0.69 billion doses. Sanofi from France manufactures 1 billion doses. America's Merck and Johnson & Johnson produce less than 0.2 billion doses every year. The Serum Institute of India is currently manufacturing the Oxford AstraZeneca Covishield vaccine. It will also supply 200 million doses of vaccines to the COVAX Alliance to distribute vaccines to poorer countries. India is ensuring equitable distribution of vaccines. As India's Prime Minister said, India is ready to save humanity with 2 made-in-India vaccines.
Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Health has been having bilateral discussions with the government of China since October 2020. And once WHO approval is received for that vaccine made in China, we will follow up that, and we are confident that we would be able to access supplies from that quarter.
Good for you all. Franklin Canna story broke in the newspaper saying that the government is going to remove super. They done remove regular. They done remove your gas subsidy. They coming to privatize the gas stations. They limiting foreign use cars. They limiting the age of foreign use cars. They taxing even hybrid and electric cars. They're making transportation, individual transportation, out of the reach of the middle class to poorer people and citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. That is their traffic plan. If you all need more information, go and research it. Franklin Can then came out and said when the story break, we are no make no decision on super gasoline, whether we getting rid of that yet. Now keep in mind, Franklin Can is of the Colmimba Dwen clan. I remove it 15%. I said what? I remove another 15%. I take away another 15%. They ain't riot yet. Next year, I go take away another 15%. Yes, you all find it's very, very funny. But he take away all the 15% till it equal 100%. Now you're going to get markup. Now you're going to be at the will and mercy of international prices. Franklin Can said, oh, well, we didn't make a decision yet on super. Let me read for you what he said. And when you all understand how government works and how cabinet works, you will decide whether Franklin lying or whether he's such an honest fella, a bastion of integrity like Rowley, Smallpin, Convent Girl, Arawi, and the rest of the boys in charge. Okay? Franklin Can said the government is expected to decide by the end of the year, 2021, if they remove super. Energy Minister Franklin Can has admitted that the matter has gone to cabinet. I was a cabinet minister. Let me tell you something. Number one, you don't take a cabinet decision or write up and do a thick cabinet note to take a decision now for the end of the year. Okay? Especially with gas and energy prices fluctuating in a COVID-19 pandemic world, when you cannot really predict what could happen in June, July, August. The economists, the financial markets and so on, who are the brightest of the bright, cannot really predict with certainty what exactly is going to happen. So who the hell is putting in January a cabinet note before the cabinet to take a decision that's saying by December 2021 we want to remove super? That's not how it works. Secondly, the Minister of Energy does not work by himself. He has a Prime Minister. With a critical decision like removal of super, which will impact the transportation market in Trinidad and Tobago with such drastic effects on top of what has already happened, it would mean that at least 60% of you who are out there cannot drive your cars, because when you increase not only no fuel subsidy, markups, privatization, liberalization, open market, storms in and cold weather, freezing ice storms in the north, oil price may hit $100 per barrel, at least 60% of citizens will not be able to drive their car. That is a critical decision, because the economy is already shattered. Unemployment at the highest levels ever, and we have no statistics, but the central bank telling us only 1,700 people lost work in July to November 2020. To remove super on top of that and leave it at premium will cripple the economy, cripple people, have people parked up, make people insecure. People, girls, women, children will be at the mercy of their outside there because of public transportation. The public transportation system has already collapsed. So if you increase it by an extra 300,000 people, what is extra from collapse? After collapse, you don't have collapse again, it will disintegrate. Now listen to this. Then, so a Minister of Energy would not just put God out, he thought, act by himself and drop a cabinet note on the cabinet. He would have a conversation with his Prime Minister. He would have a conversation with his Energy Committee, which includes Small Pin and Colm Imber. He would have to have a discussion with the Minister of Finance. My people are suggesting this. This is what we're thinking about. What say you? Should we go ahead? Should I take the time and bring a cabinet note? A minister does not just ups and do a cabinet note to remove super that will cause chaos and crisis without even whispering to his bald head Oracle Oreo Prime Minister or his Minister of Energy, the Dwayne. He would not do that. So you all decide. He admitted that the cabinet note reached. If you all understand what a cabinet note is and how it is made up, how it is designed and how it reaches, then you would know whether to believe Franklin Khan. He said, that option has been presented to me here as the Minister of Energy and no decision has been taken on that yet. The option could be presented to you, but for you to have the testicular fortitude, especially when we know you are not a man of power. You are a man that leave home and go and negotiate over your portfolio in Houston, Texas, and leave your coffin tail home. So you are not a high ranker. You are not a topper. You only get one recusal for your wife building. You ain't reach over 30 recusal, 40 recusal. So Frankie, you are not a big boy. So for you to say that information came to you and you carry to the cabinet, Frankie, give me a chance, please. Then he said it's presented to me here. Asked if it had gone to the cabinet already. Here it is. Khan said, yes, it went to the cabinet. So you just take a whole cabinet note, do a whole analysis to come and cripple the economy and cripple people's pockets who are already suffering in a pandemic, who are already suffering from your policy of reducing and removing the fuel subsidy over the last 6 years to now, where there is no protection for citizens who are born in Trinidad and Tobago. And you are telling me that you just did that note and it's there for discussion. You'll decide whether you are going to believe Franklin Khan. But I know he lied. So therefore, let me tell you this, based on the track record, let us check and see the effects now of all that I have told you before of the PNM policy now include the removal of super. so that we only go with totally unleaded gasoline, which is premium gasoline. Right now, our current prices for super, $4.97 per liter, and premium is $5.75 per liter. When back in October or so, 2019, before the pandemic, because we're going into post-pandemic now, everybody's getting vaccines except us, okay? The price in Europe, for example, average price was 140 euros per liter, okay? Which is about 11.30, you multiply by 11.33, that gives you about 15.86 per liter. This is for premium. So we are paying now $5.75 per liter, you see, because the oil price went down nearly to zero. Oil was nearly given away at minus and so on. The COVID-19 aggregate demand is low, so the international prices are very low. But we're going back to normalcy, people getting jabs. So when we go back to normalcy, your premium that you pay $5.75 per liter for will go up to approximately $15.86. That's normal. If it goes up, you know, if oil price it goes back normal and they start to produce normal aggregate demand, planes start to fly, factories start to work and so on. Now, here's the problem now. Because of the harsh winters, brilliant analysts and oil speculators are saying that the price of a barrel of oil may go up to $100 a barrel. The last time that happened, there was a huge increase in the price of fuel. The price of gas is intrinsically linked to the price of oil. They go hand in hand. So, let me tell you that the last time that oil had increased to 100 or close to $100 a barrel, in Europe the average price per liter was €2.12, which is approximately $24.03 TT. $24.03 TT per liter for premium. What do you currently pay? $5.75. $5.75. That is pre-liberalization, pre-privatization, pre-markup, which is all coming down your platform up your K-Packs just now. That is $5.75 per liter of premium. We are headed for $24.03 per liter average. An increase of $19 per liter for you in your pocket. That's an increase of approximately 400%. 400% from what you're paying right now. I am trying to make you all understand. Don't wait to get vexed when you squeeze and realize that when you pay what you normally fill your tank, you end up with a quarter tank. If you normally pay $400 to fill your tank, you pay $400 and you bounce your starter and look, and you see a needle only go up to a quarter. I am trying my best. Then you talk about the knock-on effects of that. Every single thing has to be transported. Your medicine, your food, your rice, your vegetables, your hardware materials, your steel, your cement, your sand, everything has to be transported. Your taxi price, your bus price, everything on top of no employment, no wage increase, no wage negotiation with union. Are you all getting the picture of the calamity that we are in under the PNM? $24.03. That's when they remove super from you. They already remove regular. What about fishermen? Fishermen going to have to park up the boat. What fish you going to catch to sell at $70 a pound? Who going to buy fish, kingfish, at $70 a pound? Who going to buy mahi at $70, $80 a pound? Who going to buy carrot at $50, $60 a pound? Who could afford it? This is a very serious thing. Now, Trinis, my people, Tobagonian, We just only get vexed when we feel it. You're feeling it a little bit at the pump now. But remember, the world is still in a lockdown, shutdown. 400 million people have received jabs. When 1.5, 2 billion, 3 billion people receive jabs, and we only at 100,000 and still on lockdown. That's what you're going to have to pay at the pump. Can you afford a 400% increase in your fuel bill? If your salary is $10,000 a month and your rent or your mortgage is $3,000, yeah, $7,000. Your groceries is $2,500. You're down to $4,500. Your school supplies and so on for your children and so on with another $3,000. And you spend $1,000 on fuel, on gas for your car per month. And you're moving wrong, and you have a little 500 to go move it on and so on, and you're balancing that 10,000 with a family of 4, 2 children. You're balancing that perfect. If you only miss, you're under pressure. Okay, when your fuel bill goes up from $1,000 to $4,000 or $5,000 to drive the same amount, can you afford to drive? If it's 5,000, you only have a disposable income if you drive the same amount of 5,000. If your mortgage, what we said, was 3,000, where you going? You can't even buy grocery. Your children have to eat less. So you will have to either drive less or don't drive. These are decisions coming your way. This is the IMBA traffic plan. Get middle income people to poor people off the road. Bastille Pandey was wrong and boldface, and Kamala was wrong and boldface in that 1999-98 government for letting poor people own car. Get off the road. I take my time, you know. It's coming. I'm trying to get all you prepared. Y'all don't know what these people are doing. They're sick. When they tell you, wean yourself off the government, this is what they mean. They mean that money going to the fuel subsidy, 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion, going to each and every one of you, divide by 1.4 million. Each person get a little benefit per year. Them say wean yourself off of that. So they could give Noel Garcia more money to build house, police station, fire station, red house, new house, old house, refurbished community center, sporting center, police station, health center, hospital. And then everything just fall in a big bag. And they telling you that people corrupt. They are the ones who brought procurement legislation, got in, dig it out, and legalize thieving in your face. I don't know how to explain it again. I didn't want to go long this morning. I'm tired. But I'm trying to explain to y'all what is taking place. They tried to come to Kamala with this, to take away fuel subsidy, and Kamala said no. I will protect my people. All you're saying Kamala and Rowley is the same thing. All your people wake up. Multiply your gas tank bill. Check your money now and multiply by 3, 4, or 5 depending on how high the price of oil goes globally when everybody get a job. And see if you could drive. What about if you have 2 car, 3 car? If you're 20-year-old, have a car. And if you're going now to sell your car, who the hell going to buy your car? Who go have money to buy a car? Your car going to depreciate in value. This thing has knock-on effects that my brain can't even understand yet. All I know is pain, 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 and it's pain and pain because of incompetence, stupidity, and greed. Look, I go on here, bless you know, bless.
So I am not able to read with my daughter tonight. So I have to give her another installment of the fairy tale of Planet Senator. Anaya, hug up your teddy bear and your blanket and get ready for section 4 of Planet Senator, the series. Little Smiley cough when questioned in the Senate by question mark about the 3 sons of the energy super tycoon named Ken and Barbie Julian, Stephen Minion, Philip Minion, and Conrad half a Minion. Who's your daddy, Conrad? When he asked him about that, these boys were just about the minions taking your millions. They were about deals being made with the people of Senators' tax dollars. For decades, the Ken and Barbie Julian had taken money from in the 70s at Planet Senator, into the 80s with Severn Trent and Wassa, into the 90s and 2000 with Smelters and TGU and UTT. And now came his sons, 2 whole sons and 1 half a son. The minions were out to take the taxpayers' dollars from Planet Senator. But who could stop them? Question mark was vociferous in the Senate. He asked Little Smiley Cough on the matter of the adjournment, the question. Little Smiley Cough could only look at the clock and just obfuscate. He could not respond. Ken and Barbie Julian owned all the red jacket leaders. For decades and decades, he had them in their pocket. He was able to plunder, procure, and steal the citizens of Senator all of their tax money out of the treasury. He also did this while receiving the highest award from the leader of the Red Jackets, the bald head Oracle Oreo. From the leaders of the Jackets, he got praise. This Ken and Barbie Julian. They even pulled him out of court when he invested $31 million in bamboo and savanna grass networks. And the former minister of the Red Jackets had told him, do not take the people's money. He took it because he was in charge of the Red Jackets. He made extra money in gas, electricity, smelter, university, all on Planet Senator. In fact, Conrad, Minion, half a Minion, who's your daddy, half-brother Stephen Minion, owned most of the land on Planet Atlanta. Most of that land bought with taxpayers' money from Planet Senator over the decades that Professor Ken and Barbie Julian had taken from the citizens of Senator. And now it's hydrogen. They were coming, the minions were coming for the hydrogen. And hydrogen was in the mix. And the Oreo Oracle was espousing the virtues of Ken and Barbie Julian and his clan. Oreo Oracle needed, wanted, obsessed about the taxpayers' money. Everything he did involved taxpayers' money. There was no procurement legislation. He gutted it so he could tax the taxpayers' money and put it in a big, big bag. He instructed Tight Pants Sexy Flex, aka Tight Pants Al, to change all the laws. So his main man, Senor Noel Bagman Gracias, family to head mistress Kangaroo, who controlled all the government construction on Planet Senator, could do his bidding. Senor Noel Bagman Gracias built rocket pads, he built office buildings, he built police stations and hospitals and houses on the wasteland of Las Alturas on Planet Senator. Senor Noel Bagman Gracias even used his niece to set up Grabby Wabby to protect Oracle Oreo, the village ram, who was playing games with Grabby Wabby's wife. We will get it more next week on Planet Senator. The story just keeps going. Fact, fiction, or fairy tale? Part 2, Chapter 2 of Planet Senator. Anaya, listen carefully. Daddy's not there to read for you tonight, so I will give you a fairy tale. It's Part 2 of Planet Senator with Headmistress Kangaroo and Booming Voice. Now, Headmistress Kangaroo previously was a very loving, caring human being. She would take care of all the children on Planet Senator, the red snakes, the yellow jackets, all the little kids running around. Headmistress Kangaroo would take care of them, read stories for them, treat them with love and respect. But something happened in the life of Headmistress Kangaroo, and it turned her into a wicked witch who attacked the yellow jackets at any time, and especially Booming Voice. Everyone on Planet Senator knew that Headmistress Kangaroo was happily married to Mr. Gracias. Mr. Gracias was a good husband, but unfortunately, as many times it happens, Mr. Gracias, his eyes strayed, and he had his heart and affinity, love and care for another lady on Planet Senator. He was falling in love with this lady. But on Planet Senator, there were lawyers across the board who used to represent red snakes and yellow jackets. And there was this one lawyer called Redman, Sweet Redman they call him. And he swept Mr. Gracias' girl off of feet. And she fell in love with Mr. Redman. This sent Mr. Gracias off his rocker. In the middle of the town of the capital city, he would go and search for the girl, but she was in the warm embrace of Sweet Redman. When he found them in the office, the legal office, reading briefs and checking briefs together, Mr. Gracias, the husband of Headmistress Kangaroo, he lost his mind. And a fight ensued. They were fighting down the steps into the street. It spilled off into the streets of the city. And the whole planet found out about the infidelity. Mrs. Kangaroo found out on the 7 p.m. news on TV6 on Planet Senator that her husband, Mr. Gracias, had been beaten by Sweet Man in the streets for a girl who he had loved. After that, the sweet, loving kangaroo, Headmistress Kangaroo, would not treat people well anymore. She would not read for the children and buy ice cream. She became bitter. She became angry. She became a dictator. She became aggressive. And then the whole planet was shaking in fear. And when Booming Voice would talk in the meetings, Mrs. Kangaroo, the headmistress, would shut him down and shout him down and stop it. She just couldn't find her way. But Booming Voice had empathy in his heart because he understood why Headmistress Kangaroo was behaving in such a vile manner. So he forgave her and he tried to empathize with her because Mr. Gracias not only was not a good boyfriend, he couldn't fight either because he got a cocktail in the middle of the capital for his girlfriend. Chapter 3, next week on Planet Senator. To my beautiful daughter Anaya, Daddy's going to continue to read the saga of the fairy tale Planet Senator for you, part 3. The saga continues. Get snuggly, put on your blankie, and get ready for bed, and get ready for your fairy tale about Planet Senator. There was a red snake called Little Smiley Cough. Little Smiley Cough had a wife, and he had a girl. Her name was Pressure Heart. Little Smiley Cough tried his best, but his best wasn't good enough to make Pressure Heart happy. He worked at it, he tried his best, but Little Smiley Cough just couldn't handle that young girl called Pressure Heart. Eventually his heart gave up and he required quadruple bypass surgery. And the taxpayers of Senator were forced to pay for his surgery. His wife found out as she sat at his bedside. She was very angry. So Little Smiley Cough had to recuse himself from the big meeting of the cabinet table in order to let his other red snakes approve the rental of a building owned by his wife. Little Smiley Cough recused himself, and his wife got a rental of $7 million of the taxpayers' money from Planet Senator. He did this, and his friends in the cabinet of the red tail government did this to protect Little Smiley Cough from getting a cut tail. Little Smiley Cough was also very incompetent, and he could not do anything right. All the people, all the subjects under his portfolio were suffering and closing down. All the companies were leaving, and there was no money because Little Smiley Cough was the worst minister in the history of all Planet Senator. And there was another minister, tiny small pin, tiny small pin, used to go all over Little Smiley Cough's portfolio, and the Oracle Oreo would put tiny small pin all up and down in the portfolio of Little Smiley Cough. And then they would fly all over on spaceships to other planets and negotiate deals and leave little Smiley Cough at home. Oracle Oreo was also the village ram. Oracle Oreo had affairs with junior people in his cabinet, their wives. Who can remember poor Grabby Wabby? His wife went with Oracle Oreo and it caused a bacchanal. And then Grabby Wabby was forced to leave the Red Bellies. Little Smiley Cough also couldn't protect his girl from the Oracle Oreo. He took a taste of that cookie too. He also got through to Headmistress Kangaroo. Oh my goodness, that sent her husband, Mr. Gracias, crazy. Mr. Gracias didn't know what to do. All he could do is spend his time building a huge beach mansion in Mayorama on the beach side of Planet Senator with money that he had earned from the Red Bellies. He got this huge mansion and he was hoping that he could woo Headmistress Kangaroo back to her sweet self with this huge mansion. Woo-hoo! We got the documents on Planet Senator, a big mansion. But that mansion could not make up for his inability to keep his girlfriend from the sweet red man. The sweet red man still has that girl. And Mr. Gracias was still embarrassed about the cocktail that he got in the center of the city of Planet Senator from Sweet Red Man, who beat him up and down inside out as he was trying to protect the honor of his honor girl. All of this bacchanal was taking place on the streets of Planet Senator under the worst ruler, Oracle Oreo. Next week, we continue with the fairy tale of Planet Senator, section 4. The saga will continue. Fiction, facts, or fairy tale.
No high UNC official met any PDP official.
You don't need the UNC to pass the bill. This is the worst and they need to go.
Fire burn you, Guardian.
How much more could we tolerate?
You lack the intellect and the competence.
Everywhere else is vaccinating except Trinidad and Tobago.
You cannot pay people money that you owe them.
douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics. douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics, douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics, listen douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. Politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. How douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR
Please, more fairy tales, please, more fairy tales.
douglAR Politics, Friday night, 7:30. We must start with a fairy tale. Planet Senator. The story is heating up. Some people thought part 4 got a little bit serious. But let's get back to business. Planet Senator. Would Headmistress Kangaroo make it? Would she calm down? Or would she remain the same? Is she going down to that big beach house on planet Majorama? We don't know. douglAR Politics, Friday night, 7:30. Yes, Anaya, more fairy tales.
douglAR Politics, we don't get no kicks. Trinidad and Tobago, do we have this thing up to fix? We coming with facts, got them don't like douglAR Politics. This is douglAR Politics, yo. douglAR Politics, listen, douglAR Politics, yeah. douglAR Politics, this is douglAR Politics, yeah. douglAR Politics, this is douglAR Politics. douglAR Politics, this is douglAR Politics, yo. douglAR Politics.
Good evening and welcome to douglAR Politics. Anaya, everybody's joining you now for your fairy tale. The country is looking forward to the saga as it continues with episode 5 of Planet Senator. So all you ladies out there, get your children, all the gentlemen who have a cup of coffee, get comfortable because it's story time on douglAR Politics. Anaya, get your blankie, get your rabbit, and cuddle up, snuggle up. It's fairy tale time on Planet Senator, episode 5. Oracle Oreo, growing up as a teacher on one of the smaller planets, all the little girls used to run away from teacher Oracle Oreo, and he wasn't man enough, good looking enough, or confident enough to make big women laugh and blush. So he preyed on students, all one after the next. The little girls would run away from teacher Oreo, but one poor little girl fell for it. The grooming was eventually successful, and Oracle Oreo, who at that time was teacher Oreo, was not even smart enough to wear prophylactic. He impregnated little baby Cutie Pie, who fell for the trickery of teacher Oreo. Teacher Oreo had to flee from Planet Senator. He ran away to Planet Sadis, where he hid for years and years on Planet Sadis. People on Planet Senator were looking for teacher Oreo, but they couldn't find him. Some of them had a puya, some of them had a tree canal waiting for him, but he had run off to Planet Sadis and couldn't be found. Oracle Oreo was never proud of himself. He was always ashamed of his bald head, and he had nearly drowned in the black tar water of the pitch lake on Planet Sadis, and therefore he always hated the color black. He became fond of pinks. He loved anything but the beautiful color white. Big, huge, out of shape, hard, lumpy, anything white caught his eye. It caught his fancy, and it caught his interest. Later, when he became leader of Planet Senator, by telling lie after lie on the Yellow Jackets, Oracle Oreo began to exact revenge on anything that looked black. The black benchers in the big cabinet of his government could not talk. The black benchers had no say and never got a chance to recuse themselves from meetings because their black bencher families, friends, and financiers were not worthy in the mind of Oracle Oreo of receiving treasure from the treasury of Planet Senator. The only ones who qualified were the pinks and those who looked a little lighter hue. But on the other hand, anything in the red snakes that looked pink, white, or light
got the love of Oracle Oreo, got the power from Oracle Oreo, got the treasure from Oracle Oreo, and respect of the Oracle Oreo. Even headmistress Kangaroo qualified as a non-black bencher, much to the chagrin of poor Mr. Gracias, who had to take that from the Oracle Oreo, because as Max Senhouse said on Planet Senator, he used to say, we need the money, and they needed the money to finish construction of the huge beach house that is being constructed in Mayarorama on Planet Senator. As headmistress Kangaroo did not want to repeat of when she could not pay off her loan for a new Mercedes-Benz. Back in the day, there was a semi-pink wannabe white red snake called Sandal Stitches. Sandal Stitches was the minister of no visitors. He thought he was the minister of tourism, but he was the minister of no visitors. He was looking for favor from Oracle Oreo because he was semi-pink. He was a wannabe white. And this red snake, his name was Sandal Stitches. He begged to remain on the team of Oreo Oracle. He lost his constituency and his girl to one red snake called 9 million basketball thief. He lost not only his constituency and his seat in the parliament with the red jackets, he lost his girl too and had to watch her walk down the aisle with 9 million basketball thief. Booming voice told Minister Sandal Stitches and on Planet Senator at a meeting headed by Headmistress Kangaroo. Booming voice was getting fed up of the little chirping song from Sandal Stitches. So Booming voice told Minister Sandal Stitches, since he lost his seat and his girl to the 9 million basketball thief, he better lock up his dog because he might come for that too. And he told him, Booming voice told Sandal Stitches, go and scratch. Next week, we continue with a new series. We might be going to a new series on douglAR politics called Planet Molestor. It's a featuring, again, Oracle Oreo and his best friend. Look at this.
So we take each other's hand, cause we seem to understand the urgency.
Are you a pedophile?
Stay tuned. For next week, we may go to Planet Molestor and have a new series on fairy tales with the douglAR. We'll be right back.
douglAR politics, we don't get no kicks. Trinidad and Tobago, do we have this thing out the fix? We coming with facts, cut them down like ants. Every kid and race, when and Negro places love to the max. And when we tell them, Anil, douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics, listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics.
Anil is zero race talk, zero idiot. Welcome back. Vishnu, boy, give me a chance and some give me talk. Why don't go and scratch, boy? Hey, Vishnu, go and scratch.
And he's inferring, he's telling the Honorable Minister of Tourism to go and scratch. And he's inferring, he's telling the Honorable Minister of Tourism to go and scratch. And he's inferring, he's telling the Honorable Minister of Tourism to go and scratch.
Vishnu, go and scratch, just like the Honorable Minister Randall Mitchell. And you want to talk? Boy, go and try and debate. Go and run your ministry and stop playing small pin and then negotiate all things across you. You studying to give talk? Look, let me tell you, I was eating doubles this morning. As usual, what's new? And an elderly gentleman with great wisdom, we were talking different things and so on. And then he eventually told me, after discussing all the problems and the chaos in the country, he said, and I quote, "We in a sticky situation. The problem is the glue done dry." Think about that. Let that soak in. You know, when you talk to elderly people, you get brighter while you're eating doubles. He said, "I really don't care who run the country, you know. Once the man on the street getting something, under PNM and Rowley, the man on the street getting salt. But isn't it ironic that the man on the street vote for that somehow earlier?" He said, and then we were discussing, and he was saying, boy, you know, people calling on the opposition to hit the streets and so on, and get out there for change. And then he said, you know, and I agreed with him, change normally in countries don't come from politicians who are older and so on. Change comes from the universities. Change comes from the young people with brand new ideas who are independent and full of energy and passion. When you think about South Africa apartheid, the children in Soweto, the university students across the board in the civil rights movement, not only had Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and Medgar Evers and all these people, you had those university students who were going and registering black voters in the South, sitting down at counters to order food in whites-only restaurants, getting beaten and locked up. It was the university students who made the change. Across America, when Trump come out now and they had a white flash, the voters who came out and pushed were through the universities, the educated, young, passionate people. So in Trinidad and Tobago, we had to ask, where are our young university students to lead us, for the politicians to listen to make policy, to ensure that they hear the young people? Well, we're going into some serious discussion now. And those of you who are not ready for serious discussion, go and watch something else. Because something deeply disturbing is taking place in Trinidad and Tobago, over and above all the corruption, the legalized tipping, the incompetence, the poor foreign policy, the COVID-19 fiasco with vaccines. Something else sinister that checks and breaks the fiber of a nation is going on right now. Let me tell you something. They have genetics. Genetics can give you, as a race or an ethnicity, an advantage for certain things. For example, the African race across the board, due to evolution and so on, has genetically superior fast twitch muscle fibers, can move faster, jump higher, more athletic, coordinated and so on in the African body. These are facts, scientific facts. That's why when you see a 100-meter race, the fastest in the world, 7 out of 8, 8 out of 8, 15 out of 16, 20 out of 24 will be of African descent, because there is a genetic makeup for fast twitch fibers for explosive anaerobic speed. That's a fact. Of course, you get examples of other races coming in and so on and being brilliant. That's not the point. I'm talking in the norm. So you will see physical activity, for example, also with athletes from countries like Japan and Mexico, countries that have come through cultures are hard. You get, and who have high altitude, you get aerobically inclined athletes, long distance walkers, marathon runners, those sort of distance fitness level across the board. This is genetics, hereditary, physiology, and the gene pool that you have created in your land, which produces your advantage to do certain things. One thing that has never been proven and cannot be proven is that there's any genetic proclivity to intelligence. That the brain, the human brain in general, from religion to ethnicity to race across the board, has the same capacity. The difference in achievement at the end is therefore not genetic, but societal, social, culture, education policies, advancement, stimulation, parenting, those aspects of socialization which lead to the development of the brain. So you cannot say that a white man brain, it has a greater capacity than a black man brain, or a Chinese brain has more capacity than an Indian brain, or a Syrian brain has more capacity than a Tibetan brain, or Aboriginal brain. Does not exist. The brain is there equal across the board. Where differences occur is from birth or from before birth, in the stomach of the mama, the socialization, what the child is taught or exposed to. So if you have, for example, a mountain child living up in the 20,000 feet, you'd see them, they have this ability to understand height and how not to fall off ladder and tremendous balance, and they learn these skills and they go ahead and they learn survival tactics and techniques of where they live. You will see, if you see in certain areas, children that are focused on education, on stimulation, on discussion, they tend to achieve more in school. Those who have the advantage of being stimulated in certain ways will improve. So in Trinidad and Tobago, we have seen a change in our two great big ethnic groups in academic performance over the last 60 years. Back in the day, and I'm talking as a pure douglAR now, this is why it's douglAR politics, because I don't love Indian more than African, and I don't love African more than Indian. I am a pure 50-50 douglAR, Indian mother and African father. Back in the days, before Dr. Williams, African in the colonial and religious sector, the colonial Catholic sector, then Anglican, education-wise, other than the Portuguese and whites and so on who were performing well in that system, African Trinbagonians were the scholars, the brightest, getting the scholarships, moving into QRC, excelling academically, going out to Oxford and Cambridge and going away to England on a ship to study, while the East Indians were functionally illiterate. They had come to work in the cane fields, they were indentured, they were functionally illiterate. They could not read English and they could not write. Some of them could read and write Hindi. But with regards to the colonial system, the British system, they could not fit in. Then came Dr. Eric Eustace Williams. And after 30 unfettered years, we saw a change where East Indian children started to excel, to catch up with the African counterparts in education in disparate fields, and so on till you saw the advent of different types of schools. You saw the Mahasabha bringing schools, Muslim schools. These schools started to focus, while Dr. Eric Williams had the government, treasury, and the money and everything in hand, the policy to direct. And he stated from earlier clock, he brought race and division into the politics, that his PNM was the African party. Massa Day done when he made that speech in Woodford Square was in response to a Portuguese white man joining the opposition, and he wanted to let his people know that that was not a feather in the cap of the East Indians and the others on the opposition, that that was Massa Day done. So rally together, my black African people, under this PNM banner, and let us keep power and move forward. Here's the problem. Dr. Williams and the PNM left black people behind. Those who moved forward were not black. Name one black African billionaire. I could name about 12 PNM financiers over the last 50 years who have become billionaires. They're not black. In the education system, what happened with the policies of the black African PNM Eric Williams cabinet and policies was that the black African scholars became fewer and fewer. The East Indians, who had no hope of even getting power after 30 years of constant defeat and blowout, them never thought there would ever be a NAR in 1986. Okay? After 1981, 90,000 votes with ONR and not a damn seat for them. But the East Indians, the Hindus, the Muslims, started to focus on education because they really had nothing else. And they sacrificed parents who could not read, ensured that their children became lawyers and doctors and surgeons and professors and Nobel laureates and writers and so on. While the PNM held power and our African scholars, which were at the top, started to go down. In the 80s and into the 90s, you would see it then in Common Entrance and later in SEA. And I have studied this ad nauseum. So much so that in 2004 to 2010, when I was on radio, I would always painstakingly take the top 100 or the top 200 list and go through it, not scientifically, but by name, to see on average how many East Indian names and how many African names being a douglAR. See, I'm proud of my East Indian brothers and sisters. And I'm proud of my African brothers and sisters when they do well. But like a father, if I have 2 children, I have to be able to say, you need to do something better. And all you could see in the SCA, for the last 20 years, if you take the top 100, you would see 67 to 75 East Indian names. You will see 12 to 16 African names, and the rest would be mixed up Chinese, Syrian, Trini, all right. Why do I say that? Because you have seen a problem. You have held the power. You are in control, and you have done nothing for 30 years. You have moved from the best to the worst. Do you know in 2018, 814 children got 0 in SCA? Do you know that 798 of those were young black boys? And the rest were black girls? Do you know when I brought that up on the radio, Anthony Garcia and them didn't bring out the figures of 0 for 2019? Because I'm not interested in those who are doing well. Those who get in 100%, their parents have brought them up well. Their parents are sacrificing. They are taking the time. The mother is at home doing homework every day, ensuring the children have discipline. They are focused and they are on their way. Them don't need no help. I need to help. If you're in politics, you need to help those on the bottom. What is left for them? Gary and them, 1 shot, 1 kill. What opportunities are left for them? But now, the PNM government, who took black people from on top and put us now in jail. Of course, don't get tied up with no nonsense and tell me about, yes, we have black people who bright. Yeah, of course. Of course. We're not talking about individual, we're talking about en masse, group, lots of people. In the norms, we move from the top African scholars, as Winford James, even Rowley was a scholar. I mean, he's a scholar, right? Back in the day, if there were 20 scholarships, 40 scholarships, 85% would have been Afro-Trinbagonians. Indian wouldn't get hardly 1 or 2. You get some Chinese and Anglos, Trinbagonian white people, right? But now, for the last 20 years, East Indians as a group have taken over. whether it's Cape, whether it's President's Medal, go and check it. Don't take the douglAR word for it. Go and check it. Imagine in 2018, I think it was, I saw that in Tobago, a boy come first in Tobago. I didn't even know it had Indian in Tobago. When you see in the essay, a boy come first in Tobago, it was an Indian boy. Now, is it that Indian brain bigger and brighter and sharper? Not at all. Not at all. But culture, necessity, discipline, sacrifice, parenting, based on a history of having no political power and no crutch to stand on, has created a people who were willing to sacrifice and work hard and focus on education, while another party who had the treasury, who had all the money, created a situation and allowed to ferment a situation of relaxation. Less stimulation, less focus, breakdown of the family, breakdown of the cognitive development. And now today, that same party comes to tell you, we can't really do anything to solve that. We are unable to even say the truths that the douglAR is talking here. So we cannot sit down as a cabinet and put our heads together and direct resources where they need be. We cannot direct the best teachers into the poorer areas, which all happen to be PNM constituencies. We cannot direct parent education, better health care, better prenatal care, better understanding, education for parents. When my daughter born, before she born, she in the mother belly, and we have opera music playing, pan music playing, classical music playing, concentration span, reading books when she come out. That's not by fluke. That's by understanding what needs to be done to ensure that your child's brain is developed as much as possible. These things are missing in my Afro-Trinbagonian community. Why? Because of the PNM neglect. Whether you like it or not, that is the truth. When you look at Labre, PNM, the highest unemployment rate between 15 and 28 years old. Tobago, Laventille, PNM strong, PNM strongholds. They have held the treasury and they have not disseminated or distributed resources in an equitable manner. St. Philip's Primary School, it had pigeon, it had concrete from 1926. They wouldn't build it, they wouldn't fix it for the children. They wouldn't put the best teachers in those schools. They wouldn't increase teacher pay. They wouldn't increase laptops, increase internet. They would do nothing. Why leave people like that? And now, rather than change it, look what they say. The introduction of the National Bursary Program provides a means for ensuring that the most vulnerable groups, the most talented students, and the most targeted areas for national development are supported, said Minister of the PNM, Gadsby Dolly. That's the biggest crock of nonsense that I've ever heard. Number one, all of the East Indian children for the last 20 years who come in the top 200 SCA or get Cape or Naparima Girls or SAGs or Hillview or Lakshmi Girls or whatever school presentation, even Fatima CIC, whoever, St. Joseph Convent, all of those East Indian children are not rich. In fact, when the metamorphosis started to occur, it was Franco meant cane cutting Indian children who were starting to excel. But you play race games. You, rather than say, look at my brother, what are they doing? What is Satmaraj doing? You call Satmaraj a racist? Okay, where'd I get you? Satmaraj schools came from zero, all you call it donkey shed on the corner, all kind of thing. But it come from zero to hero. But all you didn't say, well, let me see what my brother them doing, because I want my people to be so too. All you didn't say that. Because what you need voter bank. You don't want people who could think and read and differentiate, so they vote on policy.
an independent mind, an intelligent person, is a difficult thing to control. When you want to control human beings, keep them downtrodden, keep them oppressed. Do not give them the ability to think for themselves, to identify, to know that an attorney general sitting down in a cabinet and giving himself $23 million, though he step out to have coffee, is wrong. While my child cannot get a laptop, you can tell them wean themselves off the government and they clap, not understanding what that means en masse. And now, the solution is not to improve my African children. It is not to pump billions into the poorest areas to make sure they have the best schools, air conditioned, most internet, best laptops, take home tablets, best teachers, highest paid teachers, most extracurricular, music, arts, literature, extra lessons, safety, army, protecting the schools in these areas that are at risk. Not that. You don't want to do that. You don't want to get them bright. You don't want to put money. You want to give a recusal twin brother 3.81 billion. But you wouldn't put 3.81 billion into my black people, into my children. You come now to take away scholarship, to give bursary. You come now to applaud mediocrity. You come now when African children were the brightest back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and mid-80s. When we were on the top, you come now to say that we cannot get back on top. We cannot compete equally. So here what we're going to do. We're going to keep all your mediocre, but give all your money to say, well, all right, you're mediocre, and come with some nonsense. Let me ask all you something. I talked about genetics, track and field. If the UNC was to get into government, and in every track and field competition from primary school to secondary school to national team to Carifta, the UNC instituted a policy that Indian children will get a 25-meter head start. And if they reach the tape first, they will make the national team. Would that be fair? Would that be equitable? Would that make sense? And that is where there are genetic differences in children, in races, in their genetic makeup over centuries. Would that be fair? Because our African child is skillful, brilliant, fast twitch, coordinated, agile, work hard, disciplined, good coaching, that our government come and say, nah man, we need to help out our next set. Let we, the UNC, decide who go get gold medal and who. Would you all accept that? If a UNC government with a set of Indian in it came in and say, well, we are Soca Monarch, we're giving a $2 million prize. But here what we're going to do? We're going to allow 2 of the Soca stars to get through by the judges. Judges, whoever, well, it's Iowa and Marshall, or Kess, whoever, all your game. And then the next 9, the government going to choose based on a system of merit of who is poor and who the cabinet feel should get in the final. And the UNC government go and choose the next 9 finalists. And about 5 chutney stars who singing about rum, I love rum, and rum till I dead, and oh God, my rum is my lover, them getting the Soca Monarch. Would that be fair? Would that be equitable? Would that be ethical? Would that be moral? Would that be just? The one thing that we have in this country, that any child, wherever they come from, whatever race, religion, color, if they study hard, they should get through and could get through and get up and win. It's education. Yes, they have some shimmy-dimmy in between, but in the norm, it is possible once you study hard, you do the work, your parents sacrifice, whether you're studying under oil lamp or electricity, whether you could afford lessons or no lessons, that you could take an exam and mash it up. If you do the work, if your parents understand, if you have the motivation, if you sacrifice, you could get through. And they are now, the PNM is now saying, nah, fireburn that. Only 100. And if you all look at the list of 100, you all would see what I said. Hillview College on top, Naparima Girls second, SAGs and them day. And when you check it, out of the 100, about 82 is Indian, 6 Chinese, and the rest might be African douglAR mix up. These are statistics. These are facts. No child is brighter than the next. Therefore, something is happening in the lives of our African children that is not happening in the Indian and Chinese child. And what is that? That is PNM neglect. That is PNM dependency syndrome. That is left foot, right foot. That is lack of resources, lack of policy, lack of understanding, allowing us to slip slowly down the cliff of mediocrity for the last 40 years and not having the wherewithal, the desire, or the intelligence to know what to do to stop the slide. Just build more jail, get more anti-gang bill, and lock up the black tail. That's what you're all doing. I remember I told you all I saw a video of some young children drinking, some young boys drinking rum and big bottle of rum 40. I just drink rum, me and never see a whole liter of rum so and hold it and thing. But you know what I saw in them boys? I saw the ability, the athleticism, the drama, the coordination, the dancing. While you all focus on the alcohol and the wrong thing, that is just because they have no guidance. But I saw the raw talent and ability. Where's the investment in sport? Where's the investment in PAN? Where's the investment in culture? Where's the investment in arts? Where's the investment in teaching? Where's the investment in extra lessons? But man rented out your own building for 23 million. Next one 7 million. Next one brother 3.81 billion. Next one wife getting this. Next one wife getting contract so. And nothing for poor people. But you come now to say, take away scholarship from 500 to 100. And then you, the mediocre dunces like Gatsby Dolly, who in the very same St. Augustine girls was a dunce. She a narcissiscope. Could not make the top. But you're coming now to you to determine through your subjective decision who should get bursary. We coming back.
douglAR politics, we don't get no kicks. Trinidad and Tobago till we have this thing out the fix. We coming with facts, cut them down like axe. Every kid and race when and Negro places love to the max. And when we tell them, Anil, douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics, listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics.
Anil is zero race talk, zero idiotic talk. I deal with facts and information. And welcome back. So it's a very serious discussion. So let me put it to you this way. You had a couple married, there are 2 children. They divorce. One child goes to live with the father and one child goes to live with the mother. Follow me now. Because I want you to understand and answer it for me. The father have all the money, the father have big work, the father have big house, the father have big car, the father is a big topper. So the son goes with him and the daughter goes with the mother. The mother was a housewife. She have no accreditation, no degree, no big work, nothing. She's struggling. She going to work KFC, she working in a pharmacy, she working 3 shifts. But she has a daughter there. And the mother, knowing that they have a little apartment, she stays and she focuses on her daughter. She teaches her daughter to work hard, the benefits of hard work. She has her daughter disciplined to do her homework, to make sure and don't play. Even though she's tired after 3 shifts, she comes home, she checks the daughter homework, she follows up no matter what. She makes sure that the daughter has her textbooks.
She makes sure that the daughter has anything she needs. All her 3 jobs for her daughter to have her food. She go without food sometimes so her daughter could eat and sleep. She wake up, she put her in the taxi, she go and pick up. She maintains that child, and that child starts to do good in her school. And she's going and the mother is there with her. On the other hand, the father with all the money, he running down a set of girl, he going out and lime, he in carnival fete, he in all inclusive, he have plenty woman, and the boy home with the helper taking care of him. And the boy can do what he want, whatever he want. He have PlayStation, he have motorbike, he have bike, he have all kind of thing. When he feel to go and lime, he go and lime. And the father ain't teach him no discipline. He feel to do homework, no bother, fire burn that. Look some more money, go in the mall, go in movie town, go and eat, go and drink. You do what you want, no discipline, no hard work. And the boy start to fall back in his work. The boy eventually gone and try and do some wildness and get locked up. The girl goes on, get a national open scholarship, go on and get a degree, get a master's, get a big work, and take care of she mother, buy a house for she mother, buy a car for she mother, and she going good. Going good. The boy of the same makeup, same brain, same capability, but poor socialization by the father becomes a total flop and a failure. The boy come out of jail and both of them, they get married and so on, and they have children. Your grandchildren now, so the grandchildren of the man and the grandchild of the woman. Which theory, which philosophy, which brought up seed you're going to utilize? Are you going to utilize for your grandchildren what the father did to the son? Are you going to repeat that nonsense? Or are you going to learn and say, hey, you see what the mother did with no resources, with no money, with no investment, with hard work, discipline, character, focus. You see what she did there? That is what we're going to do with grandchildren. Isn't that what you would do? Well, the PNM is the father. And you're continuing to do that. To not develop, not educate, not pump resources. You have MPs who are telling their constituents that they're lazy and they don't want to sweat. That they want to go to heaven but they don't want to sweat. But you have done nothing. You pump no resources, no money. You pump more into the recusal twins than the entire constituency of Laventille and Laborie. But now, rather than deal with the issue head on, you come to attack a meritocracy. Why? You shame? Why? You see, race is a very debilitating thing. And as a douglAR, I am sick. Because if I had 2 children right now, my African child and my Indian child, I would look at my Indian child based on what has happened this year in results, and I would say, hey, great stuff. Well done. I am so proud of you. You worked hard, you put in the hours, you were stressed, you got nervous, you learned to take your tests, you practiced, and you got the results that you worked for. And I would look at my African child, and I would say, we need to make some changes. We need to move forward. You are as brilliant as this child. You have the same ability and capability. But we did not study. We did not work. For whatever reason, we did not put the hours in. We were not motivated to succeed in the same way. We didn't have the same application. We did not try as hard. And then we begin to improve from that day on. So this child, still with the potential, because the brain could still absorb, by the time they reach masters, will catch up. But that's if you care, if you have a heart, if you have a policy, if you have identified the problem and put in place prescriptions to handle it. But not the PNM. They throw their hands up in the air. We can't do nothing. So let we stop them Indian from getting scholarship. That's where Trinidad and Tobago reach. That's where y'all reach today.
All your shame, all you don't want, all you're now talking about, if we should publish the SCAY. The douglAR has been reading it. I see it. That the East Indian who did not have political power put emphasis, like Dr. Williams said. He talked a good game, but his policies showed that he didn't really mean that about education in the book bag. If it was in the book bag, why he make half-day school for black people children? Why when he spending money on senior sec and junior sec, he didn't put the human resource there? Why he didn't take the best teachers from all around, because he's a brilliant man, and put them in the at-risk communities where poverty was rife? Why he didn't make there a haven of education? Why he didn't make the poorer constituencies a haven of talent identification? Why he didn't flood it with religion and discipline and extracurricular and music and arts? Why he didn't do that? Because you had to vote left foot, right foot. And in order to vote left foot, right foot, this can't be so bright. You forget I was born PNM? A man tell me that. But Anil, you was born PNM. I said I was not only born PNM. I was born into the upper echelons of the PNM. Dr. Williams eat in my house. This ballad Oracle Ori Rowley eat in my house. My mother dead, thinking he was a good man. Good thing she dead, because she'd have been shamed. This Smiley Franklin Can, she used to help he down in my arrow. So yes, Anil was born top high in the John Donaldson, former Minister of Works and Transport, Hugh Francis, all of them was regular visitors. But my mother developed this. She teach me. My father developed this. And when I start to see what going on over the years, from 1979, when I was 10 years old, I started to realize was something here wrong, something here right. 1986, I thought we win election PNM when we get licks 33-3. We were sitting down in front of the TV expecting victory. So dotish we was as PNM. But as I get older, I start to see, but wait now, all my father, black friend and them, like they staying broken and they ain't moving forward. They're not developing. Big contractor, they ain't going nowhere. Tractor getting rusty, thing. And I seen arrogance abound. That when man in opposition, they friendly, they coming for curry, they eating. But as them win, you can't see them. I don't see them by my father. I start to see it. I start to see what is PNM. Let me tell you something. My uncle Randy Haynes, all of your PNM watching record. Randy Haynes, my father, good friend. He died last year, 2 years ago. Just before he died, this is a man PNM since he born. He used to be like Laurel Lezama, scratch leasing, bringing on and introducing Patrick Manning to talk on the platform. Randy Haynes. PNM, that's big PNM, to be the chairman of a PNM meeting. I mean, they're a big PNM. You know what happened to Uncle Randy? About 2 months before he died, I and Alice Glen, my sisters, going to buy something for my daughter, some cereal and banana and thing. And I see Uncle PNM Randy. He said, Anil, how you going? I said, Uncle, what's happening, all right? He said, your uncle not so good. I'm looking to go home. You have a little something for me? I said, me. So I give him $100. Uncle Randy went home. He died 2 months later. That is PNM. But small pain come from wherever the hell Rowley find he in email gate. And just so he's a super minister, deciding who could come home, who can't come home, and then telling all you it's mischief they're making when PNM could come home and other citizens outside. And while he's swearing, he brother get 3.81 billion in work. Just so. From zero before he's swearing to 3.81 billion. But Uncle Randy Haynes, PNM till he dead broken with a UNC lending him 100. That is PNM. That is the Black Party. And if I didn't tell you, Uncle Randy Haynes black like me. So I tell you this to say that while I was at PNM, my mother teach me to think, to be independent, and to lick no K-packs. And when I see what is PNM and the sickness that is PNM, to use poor people, to use black people, to climb on their back and to spit them out like nothing after, fire burn PNM. Now you are coming in my country, and I am a coach first and foremost. If you're good, you're good. If I was Minister of Sport, there would not have been no problem with Tamar Williams and the other girl, because I knew it was brewing. Well, we'd have simply had a competition for each one of them in Woodbrook facility. Bring in judges from Barbados, Guyana, and St. Kitts, and tell them straight, coaches, this is the Olympic trial. All you go, whoever score more points, take the spot. End of story. No games, no politics, no who like who. You're either good or you're not good. You're either bright and do the work or you're not. Don't come with this nonsense, my people, that ministers in a ministry going to determine who get bursary on what. So we must now teach our children. Don't study hard, don't waste time with that. Don't beat books so. Don't go on the computer and research. Don't work hard at your SBA. Go in Balize house and try to find a K-Pax and start licking. That's what we must teach our children now. Bursary. You people in the PNM are sick. Yes, Laurel Azama. When I was thrown out of the Senate, I told you and the PNM, you all are sick. I tell you here that you all are sick to do poor people that, to do black people that, and bawling about, you all are the black man party. Yes, shame on you. You are the black man party who took black people from the heights of brilliance to the depths of despair, where you now have to pretend and hand out things based on who you like, who you know, and where you're going. Laurel Azama, you are the beneficiary of a scholarship. You paid back? Did you finish? That's the kind of nonsense. Because if you were brought up properly, you would have never taken no scholarship like that. You would have earned it. And even if you took it, you would have had the respect and the discipline to complete what you take. Because that's not your money, but not PNM. PNM is, you don't have to achieve. You don't have to work. You don't have to push yourself. You come with us and we will promote you to the highest levels, no matter how incompetent you are. No matter if you are a dunce like a convent girl who cannot pass a pharmacology exam, we will promote you. Never mind if you're a dunce lawyer who lost 31 cases, we will put you as AG and embarrass the whole country. Never mind if you cough and man walking all over your portfolio. Never mind if you're the Minister of Tourism and a small pin choking you all in your K-Packs, trying to negotiate Sandals deal. That's what we will do. But now you're carrying the entire country down the gutter with all you. There's total, complete chaos. As the elderly gentleman told me this morning while I was eating my doubles. We in a sticky situation, but the glue done dry. My mouth dry. I'm going for some water. Let me tell you something. It is a good thing to be a douglAR. Because race has no impact on you. I love Indian, I love African, I love Trinbagonian. You're either good or you're not good. Bursary, don't make me cuss, yes? Come back, look, Archie, come, look.
douglAR politics, we don't get no kicks. Trinidad and Tobago, do we have this thing out to fix? We coming with facts, cut them down like axe. Every kid and race, fine and legal places, love to the max. And when we tell them, Anil, douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics, listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics, this is douglAR politics.
Anil is zero race talk.
So you see, it's great to be a douglAR. Because no Indian could come on no TV or no Facebook and say what I say. No African could come and just say what I say. But a douglAR who mother wears sari every day of life and a big black African father straight from Tobago, I could talk on fact without race. When you have a problem, you have to solve it. The government is there to solve problems, not to recuse themselves, not to gut procurement legislation, not to give away and sell your assets. Nikwan, 4 days, Rowley opened that. $3 billion of your money gone for 10 million US. Not a bit of product made in 4 days, and it nearly burned down today. All you had the video? Watch Nikwan, and this is what people do, what the PNM does. Alison due diligence was a permanent secretary. We as ministers had to go and make sure we dot the I's, cross the T's, make sure everything is right. She is the permanent secretary, Ministry of Finance, F1GP meeting, always correcting us and so on. But she jumped out when we lost and gone on a PNM board of the port and approved Bridgman's crooked money. Now she on the board of Nikwan, that all your assets gone for 10 million US. Run it. Look what Nikwan producing. It nearly come in. And we have nothing to say about that. Now the PNM going to shut down your port and sell it. They're going and fire 3,000 workers from Wassa. They shut down Petrotrin and fire 10,000 workers. Now you're talking about bursary for education. Why? Why can the PNM not solve problems? We have no vaccination. Look at Nikwan. Nikwan, they're producing fire with all your assets. And they went in Republic Bank and Republic Bank lent them money. But that's your assets that gone for 10 million. You spent 300 million, 250 to 300 million US. And some PNM financiers and friends get all your money thing from Malcolm Jones. Malcolm Jones get taken out of court by Smallpin, Alrawi and Rowley. No section 34, just Franco men take out of court and your assets gone for 30 million US, of which we know they paid 10 million US. We have no accounts of what else happened. Wassa 3,000 workers, all your great as the PNM, left foot, right foot, gone. Petrotrin, gone. We produce nothing. Heritage and Stabilization Fund, gone. This clown Rowley in the parliament today under question. Don't know nothing about heritage and stabilization. Don't know nothing about vaccination. Don't know nothing about nothing. And discussing with you that we are going to reach herd immunity by mid-year. The man does not even understand that COVAX has said the first tranche of 20%, which was 100,800 vaccinations, which is 50,400 people to be vaccinated, that was to reach at the end of March. We only receiving 33,000. The other 67,000 we will receive in May. 150,000 people is only how much? 5% of what you need to reach herd immunity. We need to vaccinate 1 million people. This clown who did not ask India for no vaccination, who is trying to buy vaccine from Africa, and Africa short by 1 billion vaccination, he comes in the parliament and tell you, the people, that we will reach herd immunity by the middle of the year, and then we could think about opening up. Let me tell you something. We're not reaching no herd immunity till 2022 July, if possible. So no carnival next year, no opening up. They stay in lockdown. Exemption, if you want exemption, contact Jelani. Because Stuart Young say, yes, that was me. I was in a meeting with some party groups and so on. But that is mischief. So Stuart Young admitted that the video was him. Well, media, you're not interested. You're not interested in how you get to Jelani. On the website, when you go Ministry of National Security and you're filling out, well, I am in New York for the last 7 months,
I have no money, no rent. I am sleeping in the subway. I would like to come home, please. I was born there. Look my passport. Yes. It have a form to say, do you know Jelani? It had that. It had that question, do you know Jelani? You had Jelani number. Send your information to Jelani. He will forward it direct to Small Pin and you will get through. Does it have that? The man admitted that that was him. And then he says, that is mischief. And the media, the police, the DPP say, oh, mischief. Okay. Let's follow that, eh? Because I read for you all that the Integrity in Public Life Act makes that criminal. Misbehavior in public office, criminal. So anytime somebody is utilizing their position in a public office to show preferential treatment to any individual or group, there is a criminal charge for that, okay? So let's say a man take a gun and gone to rob a roti shop. And he comes and he robbing the roti shop and they hold him. And then the police come and think. And the man say, hey, Babylon, that roti shop owner, he making mischief. The police say, yeah, boy. Boy, take your gun and go, yes, boy, because it's mischief. Is that how it moves? Is that how it operates? So, Small Pin get catch. One of the PNM people record that and disseminate it. They so hate Small Pin. And he says mischief. And the media say, hey, boy, let me don't bother with that. Look, the boss says mischief. Is that the country we living in? That is why everything has collapsed. I will just give you a few more examples as I wrap up here today, because I want all to focus on the education system and that Gadsby Dolly is determining who could get scholarship and bursary, who could get bursary. So all you people across the country, from Fullerton to Ikakas, Mayaro Manzanilla, to Grandy to Matlot, across to Carnage, Chagaramas, down in the center of Kuva, Princess Town, and Chaguanas East, Davadi Omira, Arima, all of y'all better go run to Balize House and look for a K-Pax and start licking to get a bursary, because this is what they're saying, and y'all just accept that. So y'all just don't like a system that if you work hard, you study hard, you listen to your teachers, you're disciplined, you put in the sacrifice, that you can get something, especially when they cut gate. When Fazal Karim was Minister of Science and Tertiary Education, he increased and opened the gate up to 800 million a year nearly. The PNM cut that to 400 million. And now they cut scholarship from 500 to 100. Rowley said it only went to 400 because Lara make 400 runs. That man is such a clown. But let me ask you this. Where do we go from here when an entire economy has shattered? Do you know that businessmen, and all your businessmen would know, because me, I don't like credit card. Me, I want no credit card. If I buying something, I want to pay for it. Me, I want to owe nobody. So imagine that Scotiabank in December had business credit card that you had a limit of 5,000 US. You all want to know what the PNM collapse of the energy sector, the negotiation on gas price was shut down pointless and 10 companies gone, and the upstreamers making 67% extra profit, and we suffering and cannot, NGC make a loss for the first time in its history, and we cannot generate any foreign direct investment. We have no foreign exchange. Petrotrin shut down. The 2 billion US we used to make. Look what happened. So Scotiabank dropped their limit for businessmen with credit card from 5,000 US down to 250 US. And look at JMMB. Men get our letter today with gold card, Gold card turned to gold encrusted, gold plated. It moved from 3,000 US credit limit down to what? 250 US. That is PNM. So imagine you had the ability as a businessman to get 3,000 US swipe goods coming in, and then you could sell that and make profit and go back and make your money. Now, all you could swipe is $250 US. Great is the PNM. Everybody suffering. And you will see I will leave you all with this. Enjoy driving your cars now. If you make $10,000 or less a month, get ready to take taxi, maxi, bus, walk, ride bike, or jog. Because call me but fine, you all should not be on the road. So left foot, right foot, left foot in front, right foot. That's how you walk. For those who have been driving because Pandey get all it to get B13, Wetman Tida, and so on, you all who will not be able to drive again because just now you can't afford the gas because they liberalized it, and you had to get chicken in your diesel. Yes, KFC chicken in your diesel, you dip it in your tank. See if you could drive that. You might think it funny, but get ready for the pain. And all your vote for that, we in a sticky situation. But the problem is, the glue done dry. And remember, next week, we might be going to Planet Molestor, a new fairy tale series. So Planet Senator has a sequel, Planet Molestor. Give them a little preview of that, please.
So we take each other's hand, 'cause we seem to understand the urgency.
Are you a pedophile?
We go on.